Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Writers Chat. We're so glad that you're here with us, either here in the community, in our chat, or watching the replay. We are an online show for writers, by writers, about writers, and we talk about all things writerly, which also, of course, includes social media, building your platform. So today, we're very excited to have with us Jill Landcore, who is our local expert on Instagram. We've had Jill on here before talking about how to make Instagram work and how to build that up as your platform. So what we're going to do is talk about why you should be using Instagram, some of the basics of Instagram, and then some of the new features. I do want to say that Jill has been oh my gosh, she's been blogging, I think, ever since blogging was a thing, doing first one thing and then another, and she's very creative, and so she would stop something and start something new. And all of that dabbling has finally led to SheLivesVintage.com, which is where she blogs now. She's been there for over a year. That's also the, I guess, the handle she uses for Instagram is She Lives Vintage. So she has a style all her own, so you'll definitely want to follow her on Instagram and check out her blog. And I should also just say, Jill's my daughter, so I'm very proud of her. All right, so let's get right to it. Why, with everything else we have to do, blogging and Facebook and Twitter, why should we add Instagram to our social media platform?
Well, first, thank you for having me. Yes. I look like Bethany. Yes, I'm just not the blonde. But yes, thank you for having me. Instagram. So I did definitely want to talk about why you should use it first, because it feels like when you're talking to a lot of people who maybe are of an older generation or they aren't using Instagram currently, they feel like they don't need to. They're like, oh, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Pinterest. I don't need to be on another app. But the thing is, Instagram is the app you should be on. So it's not a matter of, oh, I have all these apps and which one should I choose? Instagram needs to be one of the top ones that you're on, and I will tell you why. So, number one, it is one of the fastest growing social media networks. It is outgrowing Twitter. I mean, there's all these rumors like Twitter is dying, and it may, but Instagram continually grows and adapts and changes their format to be relevant to beat out all the other apps. So like, for example, Snapchat, people thought Snapchat was just for young people, but then Gary Vee got on Snapchat and then all the entrepreneurs got on Snapchat. But here's the thing, Instagram said, Snapchat, let us buy you. They said no. So Instagram said, okay. They came out with every single feature that Snapchat had, but better. They're not going anywhere. If you don't know, Facebook owns Instagram, but Instagram, did I say Snapchat? I might have mixed that up. Sorry. We're talking about Instagram. Sorry.
I think you had it right, though, as you were talking about it. Yeah.
I was like, I said Snapchat like 10 times, so I didn't know if I said it wrong. Facebook owns Instagram, so they're not going anywhere. Instagram is its own little entity that Facebook kind of keeps their hands off, but they do own it. So if they bought Instagram and Instagram keeps coming out with these big things, they're not going anywhere. Yeah. Plus, there are over 600 million active users. That's not just users, that's active users. These are people who are using this app daily. And since I'm on Writers Chat, let me tell you guys, I think there was, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this. I just said it in my class. I think there was over 27 million hashtags used for writers or for books, one of those. So if you don't think your audience, I know, and if you don't think your audience is on Instagram, you're wrong, because that means that there are millions of people who are just Instagramming about writing, being an entrepreneur, reading, books. There's a whole world of Bookstagram, which is what it's called. So if you're a writer, I will definitely explain hashtags. You will definitely want to be on Instagram. So not only is your audience on there, whether or not you believe that they are or not, they are. But here's the thing, is I hear people say all the time, well, you need to be on Facebook. Well, here's the thing. Facebook's private. And now with all the stuff that's going on with Facebook pages and you have to pay and all this stuff, it's getting a little frustrating. Facebook feels more intimate. Facebook feels more like, like you don't just get to follow people's stuff unless you share everything public and people are going to go on there to find you. I promise you that if you are an author or you're a blogger or a podcaster, the first place people are going to look for you is not on Facebook. They're going to go to Instagram. And a great example of this is we were just at a women's conference at a Bible college, my mom, my sister, and I, and the guest speaker, she was fabulous. She's an author. We loved her immediately. And the first place my sister and I both pulled out our phones and we looked her up on Instagram. She wasn't there. So I told her, I was like, you need to be on Instagram. And now she is, and she's kicking butt. Because that was
so good. She had her on there before we left that evening. She had her account set up.
Yeah. Because that's the first place you look. Not everybody is on Twitter. Here's the thing. People think, oh, well, all these writers are on Twitter. Your peers may be on Twitter, but your audience probably isn't. So a lot of people feel intimidated by Twitter. They don't know how to use it, or they don't have things to say, so they don't want to tweet. But Instagram is you can use that for showing pictures of your family. Everybody is on Instagram. So the first place people are going to look for you is on that app. Even over Pinterest. Pinterest is not a social media network. It is a search engine. So if I find you and I'm like, well, I want to know more about her, I'm not going to go look on Pinterest. Pinterest is just going to show me what you blog about probably, or what you pin. That doesn't tell me anything about you. Instagram then opens up this world where I can see what your day looks like if you're sharing that stuff, or what's the behind the scenes of you as an author or a podcaster or a blogger. So you are seriously missing out on future book sales, growing your audience, on more blog reads, more podcast listens, downloads. You're missing out on all of that if you're not using Instagram, because these people can't find you. And I promise you should. And the thing is, now that Instagram has rolled out with these different, I was just going to say that, Rachel, as now that Instagram has rolled out these new features, Instagram has become like a mini website. I mean, truly, you have your bio, you have a whole link that then can open up to like 10 more links, which I will share with you guys how to do that, the little trick there. You have Instagram stories where now you can live stream, you can share videos, photos. We're not even talking about your feed yet. We're just talking about in your stories. And then there's highlights, and then that's just more content to say who you are, what you're about, what they can expect from you. It's amazing. So like, to me, if there's one app to invest in, truly, it is Instagram. If you're a writer and a blogger and stuff, I would say Pinterest is probably the next one. And so on, because you really can grow your stuff on Pinterest, but definitely Instagram is the social media network you need to be on. And that's the thing is, you have to remember Pinterest is not a social media network. Right. It's not. It's a search engine. Yeah. And maybe someday they'll come out with something where it will feel a little bit more, social media-y, but it's just not. It's where people are going to go look up things. They're not looking for you to find out who you are. So, that's why. There's lots of quotes out there from Forbes and WordStream and all these places that will tell you why you should be on Instagram. But just take it from me, you're truly missing out if you're not using the app. And it's so much fun. It truly, truly is.
It is fun. It's fun just to take the pictures and put them up there. And of course, like, I don't get into all the filtering and things that Jill does. She keeps telling me I need to do that more. But it's just fun to see. I don't know. Just the more I do it, the more I enjoy doing it. I just don't always think to do it. So, but somebody just starting out, like, we have a couple people that they don't even have an Instagram account. So let's, not spend a lot of time on the basics, but let's talk a little bit about the basics here.
Okay, so the basics. So you're going to want to go to your app store, and download the app. It's very, you sign up just like you sign up with anything else. When I talk to people about the basics, I'm going to be talking to you as someone who is using your Instagram for your brand, your business, your writing career. You know, someone's like, well, I just want to share pictures of my kids. You know, I would say, well, just do whatever you want. You know, like
Yeah.
your bio, I mean, you can say you're a mom, you're a wife, but it's not as important as if you're using it for your brand, your business, your career. So, first things first is your profile picture is very important. I have seen this so many times. They'll be like a writer, or let's say they're a blogger or a podcaster, but then they have a picture of their cat. And I have a cat that I love truly. And he's super cute. He would be a super cute, you know, Instagram profile picture. But what you're telling me, because people are going to make snap choices or snap judgments in a matter of seconds, whether or not they want to follow you. So if I see a cat photo as my profile picture, I'm going to think you have a pet Instagram, which is a thing, by the way. There are pets on there who have millions of followers. Millions of followers to follow a cat. But that's what I would assume. I would assume that you had a pet Instagram. I would not assume that you were a writer. So for you guys as writers, you need to have a professional headshot. Or if you have a logo for your brand or your blog, use the logo or a headshot. But you need to show you, not a picture of your cat, not your sweet dog, you know.
I have a sweet dog. And Cody talked about logos. Cody Moorhead did a couple, or maybe just last week on Writers Chat. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and look when Cody was here talking about creating just some kind of image that then sets you apart. But another part of this is with your headshot is if you use the same picture or similar pictures, like maybe you have the same outfit on, but you know your pose is a little different. On Facebook, Instagram, your blog, then people start recognizing you across all of those. So that's another reason why it's very important to use a professional headshot or an image that you're using all the way.
It's in my opinion, and I mean, again, this is just my opinion, take it or leave it, but I think that your profile picture for all your social medias should be the same. Your Twitter, your Facebook, because here's the thing. I love selfies, but sometimes you don't always look the same in every photo. And I have gone, like, I'll be on Twitter and they'll say, oh, this is my Instagram. And I'll go like, look it up. And I'm like, is that her? You know, because she's posed differently. Her hair's done differently. Maybe it's a different even color at that time. So I would just have the same picture on every single.
And they're small. So, you know, sometimes, and if you've got a common name too, I mean, say you're looking for somebody specific on Facebook and you know from Instagram or Twitter what they look like. You're looking at them on Facebook and it brings up all these names and you're having to go through those pictures to make sure you're hitting the person you want. You want your picture to be the same so that person can.
Right. And we don't want to make it hard for people. And
no, because they'll give up.
We make it hard for people to find us for some reason. Like make it as easy as you can for them. So have every single photo be the same because they know that's who you're following. That's who they were looking for. They got it. So profile picture, even your grandkids, your children, don't do it. Post a picture of yourself or your logo, and again, have that be consistent. The second thing that you should focus on is your bio. Now, there are so many opinions about bios and what they should say, and I've actually gone back and forth on what I've taught in classes and what I think. Here's the thing. You have to remember that if this is your brand, your blog, again, we are not talking about a personal Instagram. We're talking about this is for your career. This is, you know, for your book sales, your blog, your podcast, whatever you're doing. It's not about you, even though it is about you. It's not about you. It's about your audience. So the first things that you want to tell them is, who are you and why should they follow you? Like, how do you pull them in? So I talk about like keywords. So for example, my audience is mostly wives and moms. So it is very important that I say I'm a wife and a mother, because just like that, I have gotten them without them even knowing I have, because they're like, well, we have that in common. She's a wife, she's a mom, boom, you know, like easy follow. If you're a Christian and you're a Christian writer, put something about Jesus, put Christian author, put something in there, because then that just narrows down your audience, and that's what you want. You want your niche to be as small as it can be, which I know sounds what you've not been told, but the smaller you can get, the bigger your audience is truly. Because if you say I'm a fashion blogger, well, what does that mean? That can mean anything. If you say I post fashion size girls, I'm a big fashion person. Now your audience, those girls are gonna be like, oh, she's just for me, and that's I'm gonna follow her. So that stuff is very important. Put keywords in there. Put who you are. Always put something personal, because that's just fun. You don't want it to be too like professionally, because it's supposed to be fun. I think that we lose that a lot of times, and even in my own journey, I've lost it. I got real serious with my Instagram and forgot to have fun. So I'm kind of on the journey of like, well, let's have fun with it again. Can you have more than one Instagram account for different purposes? Yes. So actually, I have She Lives Vintage. Every time I say She Lives Vintage, some people think I'm saying Sheila. It's not Sheila. It's She Lives.
She lives.
She lives.
She lives vintage.
So I'm on a weight loss journey, and a big weight loss journey. And so I wanted to share that, but I did not want fitness and health to be a part of She Lives Vintage. And I wanted to be able to be raw enough that I was showing kind of pictures that may be a little embarrassing, like of my stomach, because I really want to do this and I needed the accountability. And I'm kind of brave like that. Like I'll push myself, like I'll show my stomach with all my fat rolls, and that'll get me motivated, because it will. But I didn't want that on my blog. So I decided to create my own Instagram called She Lives Fitness. But yeah, I created a separate Instagram account, so it is not associated with She Lives Vintage, but actually, oh, awesome. This was just going in my head a couple days ago. I decided to kind of rebrand, which is what I'll be working on this week, to make it so that both accounts look very similar. So that if you find me on She Lives Fitness, you can be like, is that Jill from She Lives Vintage? Because it's going to look the same, even though I will not be talking about fitness over there on my blog. But at least it's
How are you going to do that? I mean, this is getting, I guess, into a little bit more advanced stuff, and we still have some questions that we want to make sure we get to, and we will. I promise we will. But just real quick, what are you going to do to give those the same look when they're on such different themes?
Okay, yes. So we're going to jump here. There's something called highlights, and highlights are these little circles that if you see, I wonder if my phone, I know my lighting is really bad. This is my new account. She Lives Fitness. I don't know if you can see it, but there's these little circles. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see this.
There's these little circles. Those are highlights. And you can buy or create your own little cover photos for all of those. And basically, it's whatever you're posting in your stories, you can then move those, because they disappear after 24 hours.
The story does, right?
To the public, but to you, they're archived and you can have access to them. So what's great about highlights is, it's like, let's say you went to a concert and you want everyone to still know you went to the concert. Even though that story's disappeared, you can add it to a highlight and say concert. And so people can just click on that circle and they'll see what you posted up, even if it was like a year ago, because it saves there. So basically, you can get really creative with highlights. And so to answer your question, I got these certain highlights. I am going to have them on She Lives Vintage as well. They're not going to be the same like little picture, but the background's the same and the look of it is the same. So it's all going to look cohesive if you see the two accounts side by side.
And we've got a question. Did you create the graphic? How did you create those graphics, or did you buy them?
I did not create those. I have created my own with Canva, but Etsy sells them and they're not expensive, and then someone did it for you, and there's a lot of options for they have little books, they have pens, they have computers, really cute stuff to use, and you just add those to your story, the picture, and then it saves, and then it's very simple, because after you upload the picture into your story, it'll say highlight, like in the bottom. You just click it and it goes right to your highlight and it says, edit highlight, and then you can like change the title. It's very simple. You just have to play around with it. I always tell people the best way to get to know Instagram is to use it. It's fine to want someone to explain it to you, but it's always going to be confusing until you actually get on there and play with it around yourself. So
tell us then, since we're talking about highlights and stories, and highlights come from stories, tell us about what a story is then. What is a story?
Yes. So yes, this is all on your phone. You can do some stuff with Instagram on the computer, but not much. So when you add to a story, this is like, so you have your Instagram feed. These are your photos. Let me get on Sheila's Vintage for a second. Okay, so this is your feed. Okay, these are the pictures that people see when they just look at your profile. Okay, but then stories is what's up here. And actually, I can click on that and I see it. These are the ones I just uploaded. So these are the ones I'm going to use. And right down there, see it says highlight?
Yeah.
And you just click that little circle and it will go right to a highlight. But anyways, these are stories. And you can add photos like that. Let's see if I can find someone. Okay, Jordan Lee, she's pretty awesome. So here's one of her stories. She did a photo with a little thing. Well, that was it. Oh, no, it's loading. You can do polls on there to ask people questions and you can vote. So I'm going to just vote and then you can see how many people voted. So more pictures. She's telling you information. Now that's a video. She's showing you what she cooked. More of what she cooked. There's her and her husband eating the food. There's
and
the recipe.
Quick. I mean, they're only like you only have a few seconds to record.
See, these are stories. This is what people do. You can add. There's Bethany.
Bethany's some of hers are really funny.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is you can add like look at Jordan. Now that girl Jordan, she is a huge blogger. If you've ever heard of Soul Script, she's got. I mean, we're talking like in the hundreds of thousands of followers. And in her story, she shared what she made for dinner and then shared her and her husband eating it and then shared the recipe all on her stories. And then she could highlight those to say recipes. So then, in those circles, there would be a whole category just for recipes that you could go back and watch what she's done in the past. That's what's so genius about it, because let's say you're a writer, but you love to cook. That's something that's special about you that maybe your audience, your readers don't know, but now you've put it in your highlight and they're like, oh my gosh, she loves to cook. I love to cook. That's just going to make them fall in love with you more. And when you fall in love with someone who's a writer or something, they are more likely to buy every single thing you come out with because you're building lifelong fans. Or is that the word? Yes, we'll go with it.
Yeah, we will go with that. So basically then what you're wanting to do is come up with how many highlights can you have across there?
You know what? I've added up to 10 and it's still let me have the option.
So it's letting you have them. So you could come up with like
a lot.
5 to 10 different categories of these are the kinds of pictures you take. Like I take a lot of nature type pictures and I take pictures of my dog. So we were supposed to work on my highlights and we never got back around to doing that. So we're going to have to.
But you definitely could. Yes, you can. Okay, so Rachel, she's asking how on some people's story it'll say swipe up and it will go straight to whatever, like they say new link in bio blog. You have to have 10,000 followers to have that feature. So Instagram rewards you if you have 10,000 followers or more, and until you have that, you don't get that feature. And yes, it stinks because it's very hard. Unless you are a huge somebody, it's very hard to get to 10,000 followers. But I want to talk about followers at some point today too.
We will. Let's go back to some of the basics. Melissa's asking about adding text to stories.
So it's all in there. So when let me see if I can, we'll just pretend to do a story. So let's say I'm going to take a picture there. There's a backpack. Right up here, there's the A button. If you click that, you can write and you can change the color. And then, you make it bigger, smaller. There's different kind of text you can do. Like if I go back to this one, hold on. Can you see what I'm doing? Okay, you can change.
A little bit.
You can change the different fonts just by clicking up here. The colors here. If you click that little circle guide, these are the fun things. There's your location. There's your whatever the weather is. There's your time. You can mention other people. There's GIFs. So that you can add to your stuff. I mean,
just play with it, right?
And there's a poll. You can ask, someone a question, and then you put the answers in there, and they can vote. So it's all just play around with stories, add to it, click every button, figure out what it is and what to do. It's just it's so much fun. I mean, look at that. It's so, you can have GIFs. Like, it is just so fun to use Instagram, and you're celebrating your brand. And that's the thing, is how can we expect other people to get excited about our stuff if we're not even excited about it? But if we're excited about our stuff, people are going to be excited too. So the more fun you have with it, and we haven't even gotten to like your photos, you know, like this is just from here up. Yeah. That's why Instagram is so brilliant. They have literally made it to like a mini website. People can find out everything they want to about you, and then go get the meat. And that's what you do. You give them little teasers, a little picture and a little caption saying, you know, I've been struggling with blogging lately. Go read on my blog my story about your struggle. And then they'll link in bio. Go click on your link. Go. Is your goal with Instagram to get website traffic? Yes. So I will tell you that, so I've been blogging on different kind of sites. I'm in ENFP, and I get really bored easily. Hopefully it was just probably not happen. I've found my thing. But I've come up with so many different blogs in the past, and the readership has been okay, but not great, until I started using Instagram last summer for my blog. And I will tell you, if you look at like even my Google AdSense, my little chart thing, it's like and jumped way up, because using Instagram has let people know that I'm out there, that there is a blog that, you know, they didn't even know about, because before it was more like family and friends, a few strangers who would read it. But now, I mean, it's grown. I mean, it's tripled. My readership has more than doubled.
Though so, I am going to say that Jill always has had good success with blogs, because Bethany and I, and this is like ages ago, we get so irritated with her because we would work so hard on our blogs, and she would get a blog, and and she'd get all these people reading it, following it, and she'd go, I'm tired of this one, I shut it down. And we'd be going, no, Jill, you can't. And then a few months later, I decided to do this blog, and before you know it, she had all these readers. So she does have just that, I don't know what it is, that
charm. I feel bad though, like I suck people in and I'm like, bye.
And then she goes, but Sheila's Vintage has been really her. I mean, it's like all of those things brought you to this place where it's, and you've got it, and you've done really good with it, and you've stuck with it, which we're so proud of you.
Thank
for
you.
doing that too. And I do want to say too about the stories before we get back onto other things. I get real tickled at Bethany because, you know, she's so phenomenal, and she does so many things. And on her stories, you see this other side of her. She gets real silly, and she gets funny, and she's self-deprecating. And it's like, it's like, oh, this really didn't come out the way I thought it was going to. So I think that's a fun thing too, that, you know, you want to have your professional image, of course, but the stories allow you to make mistakes and to laugh with people about them. I'm sorry, what?
I was saying, to be more human. And
yes.
That's a great thing about Bethany, is always very composed. She's always put together, at least to the public. But, you know, being her mom and sister, we see this whole other side to her, which is very, not that she's not fun. She's always fun, but more just fun and free. And she shows that in her Instagram stories. And that's beauty of it, is because you're letting people see an inside look into who you are, but behind the book cover. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Behind the professional photo, there's a human there who makes mistakes. And Bethany, one time she posted this whole story about her inability to swallow pills. And it was so gross, but it's just so real. And it's like, I love that she does that. So you can share so much in stories. Girls do daily devotionals in their stories. It's endless, the ideas you could do for your stuff. So someone asked how I got readers, or how I get readers. Here's the thing. You should definitely join Facebook groups to, you know, like put your link in there, support other bloggers. Definitely be good about sharing every time you post on all your stuff. That's to me the biggest one. I have found though that just the more consistent I am, which is something I really struggle with, especially this last month, the more your followers are going to be likely to tell someone else about your stuff. They're more likely to promote your stuff because you're not going anywhere, and they can trust that you're there. They can trust that you're going to show up, and then they start being like your advocates. They start being like your biggest fans, and they kind of do the work for you in a way. And I mean that respectfully, because I'm very, very thankful for the women who follow and tell their friends or share my stuff on their own things. Like that's something you'll never get tired of. But being consistent, sharing your stuff, and trusting the process. I mean, it's so hard to grow, and everybody has a blog.
That's right. A lot of competition.
That's awesome.
We have a lot of questions still, and I know I don't want to miss any of them. So if I don't say it, you know, feel free to pop it down there again. Do you want to go back to hashtags real quick? Because I know that was an early on question.
Yes. So hashtags is like its own language. So like if I was going to post a picture like of me and my protein drink, like, you know, and I say, oh, I, you know, just started drinking this new protein 2.0, my hashtags would be things like healthy living, hashtag protein, hashtag water, hashtag weight loss journey, hashtag, you know, health selfie, whatever. Basically what you're doing is you're putting in these hashtags because someone will click on that hashtag and it opens up to its own page where everybody who has ever used that hashtag, their photo shows up. So it's kind of like building a little community with it's like it's speaking a language. You're just using short one words or a couple words to open it up to like a different page, so people can, like weight loss journey. Like there's all these people who are sharing their weight loss journey. So if I want to quickly find out who's all the people on Instagram sharing their weight loss journeys, hashtag weight loss journey, and then they're all going to show up. I mean, there's just there's so many millions, and then you can find people, and you do that in the search bar on Instagram. It's just as you would search for a person, you can search for hashtags.
And you usually put yours in the first comment. You don't necessarily put it under your little caption for your comment.
And that was like a year ago. That was like last summer. There was all this stuff about Instagram shadow banning people, which it's still kind of out there. Like, is it a thing? Is it not a thing? You don't want to use the same hashtags over and over again. Like mix them up at least every 24 hours, because then it looks like you're spamming, and you don't want to do that. So put it in your first comment. I use Bible Blogger and Christian Blogger. Exactly. We can talk about follow loops and stuff like that.
And Linktree. Jill, got me on Linktree when we were there at that McDonald's. That is phenomenal. And I wish I had named it differently, because it named it my Instagram name, which doesn't spell out my whole last name. But other than that, I mean, it's like I can use that on stuff and everything else will pop up. So Linktree, you have your name. Mine is the link.tree, however they do that kind of funny.com. Johnny, ALEXNDR. And if you go to that, you're going to see all my other links, every other link that I've put on there. So it's now you can just send people to one place. And if they want you on Facebook, they want you on Instagram, if they want you on Amazon author page, your website, whatever it is,
it's all there.
They can get there.
Well, and Linktree was genius. Instagram only gave you the one link underneath your bio to share like something. Yeah. And then Linktree came along and said, why use one when you can use 10? So use our link and we'll open that link up to sharing a bunch of other links that you want to share. So Linktree is definitely how to use Instagram like a pro. If you want to put it in the chat, Mom,
I don't remember how they divide it up, because
it's linktr, I think .ee.com, but you'll find it. Just Google it. It's there.
It's something like what I just put up there. There may be a slash there instead. But if you just do Linktree, it's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, it'll pop up. So definitely get Linktree. That way people can find you. And every time I post a new blog post, I update my Linktree so people just can go link in bio and it's right there, but everything else is there too. And they can see what you're about. Someone asked about follow loops. Now on Facebook, there's a bunch of groups for Instagram and things like that. And they have threads where it'll say follow for follow. And you put your link in there. Everyone else puts their link in there. Easy follows. You follow everybody. Here's my stance on that. If you had talked to me 6 months ago, I would have been like, that's the best thing to do. And actually, that was one way that I got my Instagram up to about 6,000 followers. However, I want to be honest, and I want everyone to have the best chances for true success. My advice would be not to do those things. I realized very quickly as I was, my stuff was growing so fast, and I was following people to show support, and I thought this is a great way to grow my Instagram, because it's really hard. If you're not like a celebrity or you don't have a bestseller, it's really hard to get to 10,000 followers, which is what everyone wants to get to. So you think, oh, I'll support you, you support me. There's a new follow. But the thing is, your feed itself is going to be just so consumed with all these people that you don't know, or maybe you're not even interested in their content, just so you can keep their follow. And there's an app called Followers where you can see who unfollows you. So all these people have those apps. And so if you unfollow them, they're going to unfollow you. So I went through this whole journey, and I had about 6,000 followers. And I went to my mom, I went to my sister, I went to my husband, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I want like true, authentic followers. So what if I just unfollowed everybody that I really wasn't interested in, that I just followed them so I could have their follow too? What if I just unfollowed all those people and started over? Because I was like, I'm going to lose so many followers. And I told God, I said, Lord, I want to be authentic, and I'm going to do this. So I did. It took me 3 days, and I unfollowed well over 3,000 people. And I have lost probably 1,500 followers off of that. So it's true. I mean, yeah, that having a 6,000 number on my Instagram was great. It made me look like I was important, but it wasn't real. And when you just see all these people unfollowing you, it was like, see, they only followed me so that I could, that's because I was following them. And that's just not what you want for your brand. And people do look at how many likes you get on your pictures to how many followers you have. So if you have 6,000 followers, but you're only getting 100 likes, it doesn't add up. It's because they're not really interested in your stuff. So yeah, my numbers are still going down. I'm betting that if I was true to my brand, I probably have about 2,500 true followers. Yeah. And I'm okay if it goes, like right now it's like at 4,000 something, and I'm okay if it goes down, because I want a true audience. And so I'm okay with not looking at my Instagram numbers anymore. And I know that that's hard, because when you're building a platform and you want to publish a book, they're always asking about your numbers on social media. And it's like, I want to know your numbers, Mr. Publisher. What your numbers look like. But the thing is, it's true, because it doesn't matter if you get to 10,000 followers and nobody buys your book. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just supporting them because they're supporting you.
And think of the time it takes. I know that became a real time thing for you too, just doing that as well. Melissa had a question about, I just lost it. This is a little bit ago. She goes, just like with Twitter too, that reminds me, is there a certain place within the post that is best to use hashtags? And again, that was like, do you mean Instagram, Melissa? You know what? Are you ready for people to come on and questions? Let's do that. So
Melissa, write in your comment. Sorry.
What?
I was telling Melissa, just when you write your caption, like let's say you post a picture of yourself and then you're saying, I feel pretty today. I don't know. Hashtag, and then just start, hashtag pretty, hashtag selfie. I don't know.
Whatever you want to do. Okay. And then, we've got questions. Anybody who wants to come on and ask a question, please just go ahead and mute yourselves and video yourself. If I need to help you do that, let me know. And we did have a couple questions about content, because yes, whoever said that, I think it was Jan, said she's an introvert. We're all introverts, right? Well, Jill's not. Most of us are introverts, not all of us. And it is I struggle with that too. What is the content I should have on my Instagram? So we're going to talk about that. And then, Judith, I think, may have been the one who said that. And then she asked, are there tech tutors to teach how to use this stuff? Well, Jill has a class on Serious Writer Academy, so I'll put a plug in there. Though I do think your thinking has changed a little bit since you recorded that class, right?
No, I don't talk about thought. The only thing I think you changed on is like how to grow.
Okay.
But the 2 classes I have on Serious Writer Academy, one's just basics.
Okay.
And the second one, though, talks about highlights and stories and all that stuff. So if you want a really good in-depth study or class on how to use stories and how to use highlights, that's the one we just came out with.
And we've had Jill on Writers Chat before too, so I think you can go back and find those videos to watch.
Even though that's a class for sale, I'm okay talking about it here. Like, if you have any question, I'll tell you. I don't want you to feel like you have to go buy the class.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so content. Let's go with that, and then people can jump in.
Okay, so the biggest thing people struggle with Instagram is what do you post? Because it can be so overwhelming. So last summer, I came up with this thing called Content 6. And basically, it's taking everything that you're about, what you're selling. Are you even selling yourself? Like that you're an author and you're going to come out with new books. Whatever it is you're doing, put all of those words down on a piece of paper. And then you're going to put all those words into 6 different categories. So like if you look at my brand, She Lives Vintage, you're going to see the same stuff. It does not change. You're going to see heels. You're going to see flowers. You're going to see a Bible. You're going to see coffee. So those are my words. And I know I don't show anything else. So like you're never really going to see a picture of my child because that's not one of my words. That's not what I'm doing. So, or of just my mom and me, like I don't post that kind of stuff because those aren't a part of my Content 6 words, but they could be. If you're a mommy blogger, one of your words should be my children or my family, because then you post pictures of your family. Or if you're a mommy blogger and you talk about cooking, you show recipes, you show your meals. Meals would be another content word. So once you can get like your words into 6 different categories, the stress gets alleviated because then you know exactly what kinds of things you should be posting specifically for your brand. And then everything starts looking cohesive. People will start to know it's your photo before they even see your username. And a lot to it about like colors. Instagram, it's kind of annoying to be really honest. I don't know who decided that Instagram had to be this like professional looking thing, but I only use my iPhone. I am not a photographer. You just take a picture and then you filter it and then it looks nice, and then filter it the same way every single time so that your stuff looks the same, and that aesthetically it looks really good, and people look for that on Instagram annoyingly. Like, why can't we just be free? But whatever.
Okay, questions? Anyone, just raise your hand so we don't have people talking over each other. But Melissa said that she loves Content 6 and she's going to work on that, so that's really cool. Rachel?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Jill's opinion on reposting, because I see very few people kind of reposting. You know how like on Facebook, people are used to, ooh, I like that, I'm going to share it. And on Instagram, I only see that a little bit, and I'm trying to decide, do I want to do that or not? Because part of me says, no, I want to put my stuff on there.
Oh, yeah, don't put anyone else's stuff
Okay.
I would tell you that this might be really bratty of me. I'm going to admit that. It might be bratty. But when I see people doing that, it's like, I didn't come here to see what so-and-so did. I could just go follow them. I want to follow you. So put your stuff, even like stock images. A lot of girls use stock images to make their Instagram pretty. There is nothing wrong with that. However, I usually don't follow girls who do stock images, because like what's called hot chocolate hot stock is very pretty. Great photos, and I think you even know the girl who runs it.
She's been on here before. Yeah, she does a great job.
Photos. But I have seen Instagram of the same hot stock photos, and it's like, yeah. I thought that was your photo, and then you found out it was not their photo, and you're like, oh, like it's just like like that wasn't your workspace. And I thought, oh, she's so cute, or we have that in common, but she was just using a stock image, and so I feel like I don't know her. I'm not getting to know her own Content 6, you could say, or whatever. So I always tell Bethany, like, don't use stock images. blogging and stuff, like I think those are great things to use for headers and stuff like that. But I would encourage you guys to take your own photos, to be honest. And they don't have to be professional. I will never buy a professional camera and try to take these amazing photos. I just use my phone. And before I got my iPhone 8, I used an iPhone 5, like the little phone, and I was using that to take my photos. Yeah, you can use whatever, like it, and use VSCO to filter them. That's what I always tell everybody, and filter the same exact way every single time.
I noticed that about yours. I think that's part of what makes yours attractive, because you're using the same filter all the time.
Right, because then it makes this cohesive, everything looks
right
together, and that's
yes.
look for that stuff. And so, yeah, you kind of have to just go with what they're saying to do. I probably wouldn't have done that unless I was like told to.
Yeah, go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
Oh, do you use a scheduling app, or are you doing everything immediately?
I do it. This is a personality thing, because my sister uses a scheduling app. I do not. And that's just because I am such like a squirrely kind of a person. It would overwhelm me so much to do that. And to me, my Instagram is more like, if you see a picture of my Bible and my flowers and my coffee, that's because that's what I really did that morning, or because that was in the moment, or I felt something and so I'm like, I'm gonna take a picture. I felt inspired. I don't, if it was scheduled to me, I feel like it would take that little bit of the encouragement aspect out of it, because I usually encourage whatever I'm going through in that exact day or season or moment. And so, but it might work for someone else who has a different personality, who would be more comfortable doing that.
Okay.
Rhonda?
Yeah, how often do you post, Jillian?
Well, lately, I've been struggling lately, to be honest. But I always tell people to post, if you're built, like let's say you have 100 followers, which is great. I never want people to think, like I always say, like, you have 100 followers, that's awesome. Think if all those people were in one room. That's a lot of people. So people have 100 followers, you know? But if you're building, and let's say your goal is to get to 500, or then your goal is to get to 1,000 or 5,000, post 1 to 2 times a day. That's what I would say. But be consistent, because the more consistent you are, the more people are going to be interested in what you're doing. I hate following a girl because I love her stuff, and then she doesn't post for weeks, and it's like, you know, this is just the society we live in these days. We are obsessed with each other. We just are, and I'm not sorry about it. You know, I like stalking people. I like figuring out what you're doing and who you are and what kind of coffee do you drink? Like, this is just the day and age that we're in. And so embrace that. People do want to see what you're having for dinner. I know that sounds stupid. I know it's like a joke, but it's the truth. Like, share, because, you know, back in the day when we loved an author, unless you met her at a conference or a bookstore, you never knew what she liked. You never knew what she did. She was like, Beth Moore has just been opened up to us, because now we can see on Twitter and stuff, what does she do in her private time? Who is she? Not just the author, but the person. So that's what you're giving people through Instagram, is you're giving them this.
Wow. I think the spontaneity is really fun too. Just if you just take it and can get it right up there. I mean, there's something about being in the moment like that too. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
To encourage you, like, let's say you guys are all writers. One of your words, your content words, could be workspace. So let's say you're doing something on Pinterest, since you love Pinterest. Take a picture of you pinning something and throw that on Instagram. That would work. Like, oh, you know, working on Pinterest, or say something cute in your caption, and then hashtag. And all these girls who love Pinterest just as much as you do are gonna be like, oh, Pinterest. You know what I mean? So, like, show that stuff. It doesn't always have to be these, like, very, you know, styled photos. Show your workspace, show what you're doing, show a coffee in your hand, like whatever you're doing. Ask my mom, and because she had the same kind of stuff, like, it's overwhelming. Mom, how long does it really take to take a photo, filter it, and post it? It's like a minute.
It doesn't take that long at all.
You just take it, filter it, throw it on Instagram, write something, use hashtags, you're done. I mean, it takes literally no time at all. And the more you do it, I don't even think when I do it now. It's just like filter. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's just
yeah, it becomes rote now. Yeah, I haven't done that this in a while ago, because I've just been putting the pictures up. So I've got to go back and find my little cheat sheet that Jill gave me so that I can do
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, go ahead, because I'm going on a different topic.
Just maybe to share from a different personality perspective, because I do use a scheduler. Or I do both, I guess. I do some photos, but mostly scheduler, because I do more, like I read something, I want to share the quote, or here's what I'm reading in my Bible study, so I'm thinking about that kind of, that part of the Bible. But I use Buffer because then I can do, like Melissa, you're saying with consistency, it's helped me be consistent. So every day I sit down and I do my Buffer so that I'm doing all of the platforms at the same time. And I don't put everything the same. Like everything I put on Twitter, I don't put on Instagram. But there are some things that overlap, and that saves me so much time to do it through Pablo. And I like the colors on Pablo, so I feel like it fits my like muted, tone. So, so for me, it's worked for me. It's maybe be consistent in order to use a scheduler, and I just do once a day. And then I'll throw in some, photos myself, and throughout the day, that might be an extra thing. So that's my perspective so far.
Yeah.
My sister and I are great examples of that, because we both have very similar content, 6 words, but the way we go about it is very different. And it's a very personality thing, and what works for her and what wouldn't work for me, and vice versa.
It's like there's not a right or wrong in this. You've got to do what's going to make it, you have a feed. I mean, don't just not do nothing. Right.
Like for Melissa, I would love to see, like, when you're reading through your Viking books, I would love to, when you find like a cool fact, I would love if you like took the picture of the page where you found the fact, or I don't know. That would be interesting to be a follower of yours.
There's a content word.
There you go.
Another thing that's been great about Instagram, so that just made me think about, because you're hearing from someone who follows your stuff. I have one time, I'm always questioning if I'm on the right track, because my stuff is very broad. A lifestyle blogger is a lot of things. And so I was like, should I post more Christian stuff or should I post more girl boss stuff? And I was convinced that I needed to go more towards Christian stuff. This was like 4 months ago. And so I was like, before I make this decision and kind of rebrand this stuff, let me just ask the people who look at my stories, in a poll thing that you can put on your stories. Even girls who I didn't think would ever say girl boss, like very Christian girls, were voting girl boss. They wanted me to stick with the girl boss stuff. And I was about to rebrand my entire stuff to put something that my audience did not want. Now it's kind of changed since I've changed. It's a long story, I don't need to get into it, but it is a Christian lifestyle now. But at the time, I could have made a really big boo-boo by just trusting my gut instead of figuring out, what does my audience want? Yeah. So with stories, you can ask them, what do you guys want? What do you like? What is keeping you here with me?
We've got a lot of feedback from somebody, and I don't know who it is. So if Jill, is that noise coming from you, do you think, from the office there? Are you even hearing it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm just hearing it a lot. So we may have to mute again unless you're talking. But Rachel, you just muted, but I actually want you back on to ask about Pablo.
Okay. Pablo is kind of like an extension to Buffer. So if you sign up with buffer.com, you get a place to schedule your posts. So you can type out what you want to share on each social media, and you can set up what time you want those to be shared. And on Buffer itself, you can upload pictures from your computer to be shared along with what you're going to share on social media. But they also have pablo.buffer.com. And that will link to your Buffer account, and it has pictures you can use as a background. So it's like the stock photos, like Jillian was saying, but I use them, and you can type on top of it. So you have a picture that they provide, and you can search the pictures, kind of like in Canva, you can do that too. And then you can type a quote on top of there. You can put a little caption of your website. And then you can click a Buffer button, and you can send that graphic that you just made to Twitter, to Instagram, Facebook. You can have, for the free version, you can have 3 social media platforms. It's so easy. I think Buffer's I just love it because it's a lot faster than making something on Canva, than downloading it to your computer and then putting it on a scheduling app. So I would recommend that. That's what I've used.
Well, that's great. That's great advice. We talked a little bit about logos earlier. Jill's husband, Jacob, has an Instagram called The Bearded Minister, and he does not use a professional headshot. Can you bring up Jacob's logo?
We don't even know. Well, at first I thought I should show a picture of Jacob.
It's fun.
And he's even got it now. He has it on business cards too, right? The same logo. So he's going that direction. He's not using the professional headshot or photo kind of thing. He's doing what would be more. Okay, so there's Jacob right there with his.
It looks just like it.
And there's his logo. So now when people see that, it's like, oh yeah, that's Jacob Lancor,
I sent that to Bethany and she was like, oh my gosh, where did you find that? I'm like, I know, it's Jacob.
And so so now he's doing an Instagram and actually doing kind of good at it. So that's really
awesome at it.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that. The Bearded Minister. Any other questions? We're getting to almost the top of the hour. Melissa.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. We mentioned a while back about links, and I know that on Instagram you can put a link in your bio. Is there anywhere else you can share links, or is it only in the bio?
And unless you have 10,000 followers, it's only in the bio. But that's why you use Linktree because, and I'll show you guys so that's clear. Linktree, it's free, so you don't have to pay for it. And sorry, I gotta go to my page. So you see the link right there, and it's gonna say Linktree/Sheila Clifford. So if you click going to open up this page. Go.
There it comes.
So now there's all these other links that you can see in here. So if people want to go, so new blog post, or there's my Instagram course you can buy. There's a new podcast episode. Be my friend on Twitter. So then it opens up so people can see a bunch of links, and you can keep updating that one. That's the easiest and best way to use that is getting links. And it is free, and it's super fast to sign up, and you just go in and change them.
It is. It's quick. I mean, I was really pleased how many different, I don't know if there's a limit to the links, but I mean, I put a whole bunch on there, and it didn't take me any time at all to do it. It was kind of fun. And now it's like, if someone, I mean, I think I even put that in my Twitter profile then. That is because that way, again, I don't know where they want to follow me, but this way, I've got the link tree, they can go to whatever ones they want.
It's definitely what you should use.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on Twitter more and more, that people are using Linktree and Twitter also. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments? So glad you all were with us. Matthew, yes, come on in.
Yeah, I've seen some people using Instagram almost like microblogging. So
yes,
their pictures are not necessarily fantastic. Some are. But it's really more the words, like the content that they put in. So I don't know if that's that. I'm probably not going to do that. It takes a lot more effort to write words, but I'm just thinking of writers who may gravitate more towards using words, or is there a practice of taking something that you might have already posted on your blog and just putting it straight into Instagram? Is that something?
So it is like a picture of a blog post, or part of a blog post, or just a quote or something?
The ones I've seen have usually just been like either, maybe just a landscape picture, like a picture of whatever. Like they've just snapped a picture, or there's somebody, I can't remember who it is now, but he has he's a photographer, like he has fantastic photos, but he basically uses it as a Bible study platform.
Oh, wow.
And tons of engagement.
Yes. My friend, here's the thing about microblogging, that it's a thing, or people call it Insta-blogging. My friend Ashley got rid of her blog and does Instagram now, and she has a great following. The fear in that is that if Instagram ever goes down, you've lost everything, so you should always have a website. However, it does work. when I started posting more Bible stuff, I would write out longer, like almost devotional type stuff, and they got really good feedback. People are interested in that. They don't always want to go to my blog. So I think a balance of doing both is good, especially for writers. You know, if you could share, even like Jameson had our podcast, and we wanted to do fun things like, because it was for writers, like post a picture and then tell people to caption it. Or if this was a cover of a book, what would you call it? Do fun stuff like that on Instagram. That's just going to engage people and it's fun. So for writing, microblogging, all this stuff, I think there should be a balance, because that will pull more people in because they're readers. Your audience are obviously readers. So that's what I would do.
Wow. Okay, well, I think that, you know, we've hit, 5 after, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for all your questions. Jill, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to, of course, to have you on, and your energy and getting us all motivated to get back into Instagram, or to take that next step in Instagram wherever we are in that journey. Next week on Writers Chat, we're welcoming Vicki Dorstock back with us. And I don't think we actually have a title yet for next week's show, but Vicki's going to be talking about speaking and voice, and even I think giving us some little voice exercises to help us with that. She's got an extensive musical background, and so some of those trainings might be able to help us as speakers too, that you know, to help us with our voice. So that's going to be really a different and interesting. So we hope you all come back. Thanks again for those of you who are with us, and those watching the replay. We're so glad that you did that too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.